I'm Robert Peterson. I'm about to begin a painting of a baby turtle with a blue crab in the water. Um, I like to do from time to time a animated version, a little bit more cartoon-like. Even though I do a lot of realism as well, every once in a while I like to go back and do a baby turtle. So I'm going to show you my process on how I put together my painting, how I do my artwork. What I've done is I've painted the background to cover my canvas, and I've penciled in on top of that background coat of paint my characters that I'm going to go ahead and incorporate into the picture. So right now it's ready to get my next phase, or where I'll start painting an undercoat for my characters in this undersea world. At this point, I am starting to paint in my characters. I'm defining them, or as I like to call it, mapping in my characters. I'm also able to make any adjustments or corrections to my characters as I go through this process. I use a solid color. In this example, I'm using black, but this helps me to, as I say, identify or fully define my characters and make the adjustments that I need to before I go into the fine-tuning of the characters. With the mapping complete, now I'm coming back in and I'm doing different parts. I started with the eye, and now I'm starting to paint in with an undercoat the pattern of the tile pattern, I call it, on a turtle, and the same thing with some of the semi-highlights on the crab. But I'm coming in with a lighter color to go on top of the black undercoat and try to bring out the character and make him a little bit more defined. At this point too, I'm doing some of the blending from the highlights to the shadowing on the underside of the character. But this once again is helping me to define him, make him a little bit more three-dimensional in the painting. I use the two-brush method. I have one brush that has the paint on it, and I have a second brush with a little bit of water on it to be able to blend the color into the darker shadowing on the underside of the character. It's just a process I call scrubbing, but it just helps me to feather out the color into the low lights, or the shadowing on the underside. It's kind of a tedious process, but it's what helps me to bring the character to life. As far as this part of the painting, I'm just bringing in some of the highlights on the top of the head, along with the tiling of the behind the eye on the turtle. When I get the head done, then I go on to the rest of the turtle. I define his shell and his flippers, both in the front and the back. And I'm doing everything in a process to prepare myself to do the highlights once the paint is dried. I'm using kind of a bluish green to coincide with the background of the painting. So there's kind of a harmonious combination between the bluish green on the turtle and what is in the background as well. Doing a little bit of shading using my 2-brush method. Kind of a long process, but I just keep working until I feel like I'm at a point where it's finished. Here I'm doing a little bit of the feathering out of the color into the shadowing of the underside of the turtle. Getting everything ready so that when I do the highlights, there'll be a strong contrast between the top of the turtle and the bottom shadowing. But I'm using my black undercoat as a natural shadow.
The colors I use to do the defining of the tiles, both on the flippers and on the face of the turtle, is just a combination of colors of a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. I stick to the primary colors. I don't buy tubes of specialty colored paints. I just go with the primary colors and mix it to the liking that I want to use, and that's what I've done here. Like I said, this is just a combination of a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white to do all the tiling and markings on the shell of this little turtle. I will later come in and do the highlights on the turtle, but I'll be using a little bit of white and yellow to do the highlights. But right now I'm still working on the tiling using the bluish green to coincide with the coloring in the background of the turtle.